Good morning, YouTube and Instagram and all the people. Sister Kate here. First time using the gimbal on a live stream, and so far it's working pretty good. There's the Greek homestead. Good morning. It's probably good night to you. Shalom. How are you doing? So I'm sitting in the orchard. My favorite place to do, because there are benches here. You can see one of them in the background right there. They are birthday benches from years ago. In about an hour and a half. Okay. There's Mad Kelt. Shalom. Shalom. Grandma Ginger's farm. Good morning, sister and friends. Shalom, y'all. It will be nighttime in an hour and a half in Greece. So she's like dinner time-ish, and we're definitely morning time-ish going into noon time-ish. So, Mad Kelt, there's Tim back. Shalom, good morning. It's a beautiful day here, absolutely lovely. Mad Kelt, I imagine you are getting ready for tonight. For those of you who are not Torah keepers, return to Jehovah the Lord. Shalom. Welcome to the live stream. Tonight is the new moon. It's the dark of the moon. So it's the beginning of a Hebrew month. And in exactly 14 days, it will be the start of Sukkot. Drizzle and rainy here. And drizzle and rainy can be good if you need moisture. So tonight is the Feast of Trumpets. Lone Star Living. Shalom. There's tea and coffee roses. Ooh, I love tea roses. Shalom. It's a Feast of Trumpets. It is the Champ du Soleil. Shaloha, sister. I bet you're getting ready too. I bet you're getting ready for tonight, sister. The Feast of Trumpets, yeah, shofar is ready. Is the only commandment for this feast is to blow your shofars, which if you've never heard them blow, and especially if there's more than one, there's something about that shofar blowing that just, it touches your soul. You can feel it right in your bones, that call. Shalom, Sister Kate. Buongiorno, David. From Italy. So we have Italy represented and Greece represented, and they're both dinner time-ish. So buongiorno. Good morning. Sister Kate says lamp keeper, channel supporter. Mad Kelt gets right into your soul. Yes, we were discussing the shofar blowing, and I'm trying to remember if this memory is my memory or is one that someone told me. But they were at some kind of conference, and somebody right behind them during the point of the conference stood up and started blowing the shofar, and it just like jolted them alive. Like they didn't know what it was. It's kind of loud, and yet there's something about it, and it wakes you up too. It's like, wake up, look around, pay attention. Shalom, Patty Sanchez, also a channel supporter. Shalom. And crew, that's right, all crew members. Y'all are part of Kate's crew. And that's what I found when we started looking into Torah and looking into people who knew how to answer questions and direct us. Shalom, Sister Vicky. Hope you're feeling well today. Praying for you. I felt like I had a shofar blown into my life. Like, wake up, get on the right path, see these things, be aware of them, start to change your life. And so it is it's an amazing sound. It's really cool. And it's not something you can just do. Most people, shofar, if you were a trumpet or a trombone player or a brass instrument, those are the people that you see just be able to pick them up and blow them. And also some of the children. I've seen some young kids, like 7, 8-year-olds, just pick it up and start blowing on it. Let me see this comment. It looks good. Looking forward to the fall feast. This is the first year I'm finally getting to take most of the days off. Looking forward to back-to-back 4-day weekends, right? Such a struggle, such a burden to keep these feasts of the Lord. God's appointed times. What a burden to have to keep them. Blowing shofars, and we're going to be cooking some meat and sharing fellowship with other brothers and sisters in our area. And it's the start of the whole appointed time, because soon after comes the Day of Atonement, which is always a day to reflect on yourself and get to work on yourself. And then after that, the Feast of Sukkot, the camping out feast, the feast of ingathering, of celebrating your harvest, all sorts of things. Really good stuff. So, I had a couple things I wanted to talk about. Obviously, the feasts were one of them. Happy for you all to comment. Happy for you all to ask questions. Greek Homestead, are you going to be keeping the fall feast this year? What else? I'm trying not to say So I'm wearing a particular shirt today. I don't know if any of you know what kind of shirt it is. If you do, please tell me what it is. And if not, I'll go into it here in a minute, letting your comments upload. And welcome to everyone. Welcome to anyone who has not been on a live stream before. Welcome to all my channel members and channel supporters. You know I love seeing you. And I've got this camera on the gimbal, so hopefully it won't shake much. Tigers, says Chump to Slay. Madkel, rugby shirt. That's right, this is a rugby shirt. Shalom, have to run into the store, but I will be right back. All right, hey, Suze, we will see you when you get back. Rugby says, that's right, this is a rugby shirt. There are many copies of rugby shirts, but there is a standard if you're on a team to your shirt. So the copies, you can tell very, very quickly by the weight of the material, because a real rugby shirt is pretty strong. It's a pretty heavy duty material. You're going to get tackled. You're going to get it dirty. You're going to be rolling around on the ground. You're going to get pushed and shoved and everything else. So they've got to be substantial. The other thing about a real rugby shirt is that these buttons are not like hard plastic. They're a kind of rubber, and they can flex for the same reason, that when you're in a scrum and everyone's pushing and all this muscle strength is moving around and everything, you don't want these buttons to like penetrate or crack somebody's tooth or gouge somebody's eye. And so these are rubber. So that's another indication of a real rugby shirt. And then the cuff is pretty substantial too, and it's elastic. And it usually does have a cuff, at least this thick. Sometimes they're thicker. So that's a real rugby shirt. So why am I wearing it? Well, let me see what you guys think. The Vikings tea and coffee roses. Vikings colors. Mrs. Pleasance knows. Not sure what team. That's right. That's what I'm looking for next. It looks like East Carolina University color, says Lamp Keeper. Ashland University in Ohio colors, says Vicky Fulkerson. Tough for scrumming. That's right. It is a team shirt, and it's a team that I was on. And not only was I on it, but for a semester, I was the president of the club. And it is my college's team colors. And Pastor Joe surprised me by ordering it and getting it for me. I also have a rugby shirt for the Kiwi team. Man, I'm trying to remember what the name of them is right now. The All Blacks. They wear the black one, and it's got sort of a fern leaf on it, and it has a white collar. A lot of them do have a white collar, and it's black. Simply because they are an amazing team. Hello from Smoky Mountains in North Carolina, says Crystal Allen. Welcome to the live stream. So yes, this is my first time wearing my rugby colored shirt. I had my jersey for a long time, and then I think one of my daughters got it. And there were two different color combos you could do for our club team. One was yellow and white, and they had an enforced area right here. I don't know if I can see it on this one. This one's definitely double stitched, but it was like reinforced right in here too, and kind of a circular pattern to make sure that your shirt didn't rip if someone tackled you as well. But ours were yellow and white, and then this purple and yellow. You can tell it's good quality because the color seams match. There you go. Hi from Scotland while vacationing in Arkansas. That's right, Mrs. Pleasance had moved. She'd been in England, right? And then you moved up to Scotland. You need to get in touch with Norm Holland if you haven't already. Sometimes he's on the live streams. He's definitely on the channel. And he's a source of wisdom and knowledge up there in Scotland. He's a very prepared guy and very wise, very experienced. Do you guys have any comments, questions before I get into the next thing I want to talk about? David, how are things in Italy? How are things in your area? How's the politics? I'm going to wait a minute because your comments take a little while to get it up in here, see if anybody said anything. Got the ducks in the background. They just got fed. I'm late. I'm late today. I should have fed them earlier. Should have got up earlier. Thanks for the tip, says Mrs. Pleasance. You're welcome. I hope you make that happen. It would be a dream trip for Pastor and I to be able to fly and visit in Scotland. I think that'd be a lot of fun. How'd the smoking meat turn out, says Custom Builder. As far as I can tell, it turned out well. It's in the freezer right now, and we're going to bust it out during the Feast of Sukkot. We have a night planned of breakfast for dinner, and we are going to bust it out then. We're going to thaw it out 3 days in advance. We're going to slice it the day of and then fry it just a little bit, and hopefully it's delicious. Smelled really good. We're a few hours behind too. It's okay, Sasoki Storm Chaser. Yeah, you've had a heck of a time. I hope Nian's feeling better. Oh, I did try it. I did try that smoked meat, just cut like a little corner off. It was too salty, and there still was some salt crusted on it. So I rinsed it again and tasted it again, and it tasted delicious and more normal. So that's what I'm, assuming is going to be okay. And in that same meal, in that same breakfast for dinner meal, we are going to bust out the homemade syrup that we made last fall, winter time. We saved 5 half pints just for that meal. So we're going to have some really special homemade, grown on the property, or done by hand foods at that meal, including eggs that the chickens have laid. All right, so let me see the rest of y'all's comments here. I got to scroll back up. Whoa! We are in the middle of a pretty severe migrant crisis here in Italy. Did you see the video from the island of Lampedusa in the Mediterranean? Travis showed them on his channel. I did not, but I did see the headline saying that there was an island completely swamped by all the immigrants. And when I was there years and years ago, there were African migrant or illegal, whatever you want to call them, running around Rome, like in all the piazzas, trying to sell sunglasses and hats. And the Carabinieri would come through, and they'd all grab their stuff and run, to the next piazza somewhere else to get away from the police. Okay, let me see what else you guys are saying. I don't want this to move around, so I have to reset this. I thought I was going to reset it. Oh, it's saying it might be out of battery. No? I don't know what it's doing. There we go. All right, let's see what else you guys have said. I need a smoker, left mine in PA. It can be worse than Greece. Wait a minute. Scotland is beautiful. All right, let's see. Mac helped me too. Left mine behind in OKC when we moved out here. Winter night, I did. Isn't Malone against immigration, securing the borders, etc.? Let's trade some goodness soon. I've got a acapella and Brazola curing in the fridge. Yes. We have a flood crisis in Greece. The #1 area of agricultural production is now underwater. That's a worry. Okay, Storm Chaser might just have to build one. The one we had for the longest time, someone gave us, and it just started to fall apart. Like the actual metal was rusting through, and the smoker pan had rusted through. So we went out, we bit the bullet, and we bought one. And it's not that big. The other one we had is much bigger. Excuse me, but for the amount of meat we smoke, it'll work just fine. Excuse me. And you saw that I had to cut that brisket in half to kind of fit it in there. Actually, it came to me in halves, and it fit right in those shelves, no problem. All right, so something else I wanted to talk to y'all about, because it occurred to me this morning, is this legislation that's in the House in California, where it's basically the legislation says if you are not willing to support your child's gender change, then the child becomes a ward of the state. You lose your parental rights because you are not looking out for their best interest. It hasn't passed yet, but if it passes and Newsom signs it, that's going to be a law in California. I don't know how they're going to enforce it or punish parents. I don't know if they're going to have sheriffs to, come in and get your child, or if the doctors are going to snitch on you to the state and then the state agency comes and gets you. But I think it's a really important piece of legislation in that state. And I think the initial vote was 57 Democrats to like 16 for that legislation to get it from the House to, I guess, the Senate in California, not federally. 57 and 16. That tells me that people have been electing liberal politicians for a while if there's that much majority who are for this kind of legislation. So in my opinion, and I don't know what y'all think, but please let me know what you think. You got two choices there. Of course, you have a world of choices, but practically speaking, two choices there. Impeach your governor. That's one. And in order to do that, I'm sure somebody has to bring some kind of charges against him, and it has to be done in the legislation. So, Congress, Senate have to be behind impeaching him. I don't know if the general public can impeach the governor. I don't know what the, there's a chipmunk. That's who's coming out and eating the duck food when they're not here. Wow. I guess I could show you. Oh, the ducks are heading back up there. Let's see if I can get a picture of that little guy in there. Nope, he's running. Nope, he just ran. Oh boy. Yeah, the duck saw him up there and went back up to eat. And chased him off. I thought it was a squirrel. Anyway, I'm sure you could probably get enough signatures to bring that matter to the next vote. I think that might be a way that the California people could counteract this law that's being, moved through their political system. So impeaching. And the second one is move out of the state. Move out of California. I saw a reel yesterday by a trucker I think he said it was a yellow trucking company, 30,000 employees, maybe not just that company, maybe truckers in general. California outlawed a certain age truck, so they cannot use their truck, their big truck, their semi-trailer truck. They cannot use it anymore for their work because it's outdated. California, the state, outlawed them. And so 30,000 truckers are out of work in California. And they're going to have to leave the state or junk their truck or sell their truck somewhere else. And that person was really upset because one person, and I'm guessing it's Newsom, saying it's okay that we do this thing has put 30,000 people out of work. And he said that there's something wrong with this system where that is a possibility. So impeach the governor or leave the state. Those are the two choices I think you have if you're in California. Get out of California now. Anyone still living in California is crazy. It's so evil, says Rachel Heithouse, who is also a channel supporter. And there is Red Prepper, who's also a channel supporter. So shout out to you too. That's exactly right. It is evil. As my pastor likes to say, a man has a right to his own children. You don't abrogate your parental rights to any entity. Your children biologically are yours, and therefore no one should be able to tell you how you have to raise them or that you have to gender affirm them or any of that other nonsense. There's Red Pepper. Shalom. They have enough woke Karens to turn parents in, says Mad Cow. Tiago Matiero. Shalom, Sister Kate. Shalom, Tiago. Oh, HE double hockey sticks. No, absolutely ridiculous. They call CPS, Child Protective Services, then get a court order and the police come and take your kids. It's disgusting. And you know, once the system has them and they're given to foster people or whatever, they're going to be abused, and possibly because of how much the court system will tie you up in paperwork to get them back, you may never be able to retrieve them. You know, if the foster parents apply to adopt them and all that other nonsense, it's horrifying. Shalom SK just got 2 copies of Homestead Hints, one for me and one for a friend. Great stuff, says Harbor Prepper. Thank you, Harbor Prepper. 1 for buying it, 2 for saying that you like it. I did post yesterday, because you're bringing it up. I didn't bring it up. Dystopian Survival. I guess his name is Tim. He is a follower on the channel. He did a review of Homestead Hints on his page at dystopiansurvival.com. And he said, basically, good book, which is what I'm hoping people are saying because it's true. Not because you want me to be like, oh, thank you so much, but that you actually find some value in the book. I certainly wrote it to be of value. He just moving the food to a different location, says Tom Worry. That's right, he's stuffing his cheeks and taking it in. It's probably a female too. That's already happened in a lawsuit that was won in Northern California, but imagine worrying about them coming for your kid. Wow, I don't want to imagine that. Shalom SK, says Mosby Men. Shalom. California is self-destructing. Something else about California that I find really strange. Newsom is not dumb. He knows that California has like the 4th largest economy on the planet. He knows his state is a powerful state. And yet he's tearing it apart brick by brick. Like, why would you want to lose 30,000 jobs in your state? Isn't that going to make your state taxes reduce? Isn't that going to put a lot of your citizens on unemployment? I mean, isn't that going to weaken your state? Why would you want to do that? Why would you voluntarily do that? That law was signed by Schwarzenegger, said Sergeant James. Schwarzenegger was a rhino, says Mosby. Colorado is almost as bad. Nikola, on vacation in Serbia, spent time in the countryside, so much knowledge of the old ways I've yet to learn. Interesting how people deal with tyranny here. Lost morale, detach, focus on the little you can. I think that's very practical, Nikola. I think there are old ways in a lot of parts of Europe, in countries that just didn't modernize as fast as America does. America still has pockets where people know some of the old skills. I like watching reels, and some of the reels I really enjoy are watching people with teams of horses plowing their fields or cutting their hay. I like seeing people who still know how to use a mill with millstones and maybe a donkey to turn a wheel to grind down grains, make molasses out of sorghum and things like that. I also watched a reel today, one of the oldest well systems, drilling systems in Oklahoma. One cycle engine and a huge wheel with these long cam shafts off of it attached to other things, drilling for oil. You know, been running that way for 100 years. I really enjoyed that old kind of technology. California is only slightly better. Grandma Ginger. All right, come on, guy. I want this thing to hold still, and there's a way to set it to do that, but I can't tell if the battery's down or what. Okay, Serbian culture is not liberal, right? And then the children get lost while in protective custody. Make people dependent on the government, said Vicky Fulkerson. Well, you're right about that. Hello, Patty. And yes, indeed, everyone give the video a thumbs up. Dobro Don Nicola, Mrs. Pleasant said. I'm assuming that's a hello. So, yeah, that was my commentary on that latest thing in California. At least you guys are saying it's been there for a while. If it's been there for a while, you had plenty of time to leave before they started enforcing it. Excuse me. So, another something that I was thinking about lately is weeds, because they are an issue all the time. If you garden, Grandma Ginger's farm can attest to that, and Mad Kelp. They'll be making sorghum at the Cane Hill Festival tomorrow. The high school kids are cutting the cane today, says Tim Pack. That is a very good festival to go to. Unfortunately, it's on Shabbat for us, and it's right in the middle of our fall feast, or else we would have gone. But I've gone to a festival where they did the sorghum grinding, and it's fascinating. It's just the resourcefulness of people 100, 200 years ago to grind these plants down, and then to spend the 10, 12 hours heating it up and letting it boiling off the water and leaving the sweet there. And when they do sorghum, they've got like these little channels that go back and forth and back and forth, and the syrup, the syrup coming out of the cane goes back and forth in these twists and turns, and then at the final drips down into a pan at the very bottom of it's like a 12-foot long concrete tray. I mean, it's just the time and the effort, and yet it's so good. If you've never had sorghum syrup, not sorghum molasses, but sorghum syrup, you should buy some. It's got a flavor that just doesn't quit. It's amazing. It seems everything is on Shabbat. A lot of stuff is on Shabbat, Mrs. Pleasance, but it's okay. Like, I'd rather be resting, according to the what the Father tells me. But anyway, I wanted to talk about weeds because I've been cutting weeds all summer long. Got that one weed on my property that I'm still trying to get rid of. And I had kind of convinced myself that I had cut it all down and had it under control last fall. And when spring came up, I didn't see much of it coming up in the areas where I had cleared, where I'd pulled it or cut it down. And I completely fooled myself. As the summer went on, and we were not here, the whole summer, we had some trips we hadn't really planned on doing. When I got back, that weed was popping up everywhere. And I thought, how is it possible? How is it possible that I cut it all down and pulled it all out, and there's still more? And then it occurred to me, the stuff I was seeing come up was what was left last fall that I didn't get to, and each plant throws down 1,500 seeds a plant. And so if I missed even one plant, it's going to throw down 1,500 seeds. Now, that doesn't mean they're all going to come up, but the areas where it did come up, obviously, I had not done that thing. And so it was disheartening, and I've been cutting them with my little comma. I've shown you it before. It's like a corn knife. I've been cutting it down and cutting it down and pulling it wherever I can see it and whenever I have the strength for it. Well, recently I was clearing some land with some brothers in our orchard area, and we were there working for 4 hours straight, cutting down trees with chainsaws and pulling out roots. And I used Jack for like 2 hours, and I was just exhausted. Like today is 2 days after that, and my left arm doesn't even want to work. I'm so stiff and sore from all that manual labor. I even used aspirin today, and I put liniment on my shoulder and everything like that. Yeah, ragweed is crazy this year. I've got my goats. I've got 3 young billy goats working on a huge patch of it. And the next time I move my 11 nanny goats, I'm going to fence in a whole area with that stuff in there because they'll at least eat the leaves off. Anyway, what I kept saying about this weed is, why don't we have vegetables that would grow like that weed does? Why don't we have a vegetable like cucumbers or tomatoes or potatoes that grows like crazy, that throws off 1,500 baby plants whenever it's done at the end of the season? And how come those, like if you have a heirloom variety of a plant, it does throw out seeds that are going to grow that plant, but like we have to baby the heck out of those seeds. We have to wash them and rinse them and dry them and keep them in a bag all winter long, and then we have to plant them in the right soil and hope that the bugs don't eat them. Hello, Moonshine. Good morning. This weed that grows on my property, every single baby plant that comes up is super healthy, and if it's in a sunny location in decent soil, those plants get 3 feet tall. So why is nobody researching what growth hormone is in that plant and sticking it into the food the plants we depend on for food? That's one thing I thought about that stupid weed. And the other one is this. Our society makes it in a very general way. Oh, all plants are good. Vegans, we need to have all the plants. We need to keep forests pristine. I see a movement online for people to let prairie grasses grow in their lawns instead of mowing the lawn and putting some other kind of grass in there and so on. Here's a clue for anyone who has that attitude, which is probably not y'all. You probably have already noticed it. Thanks, Mary Negre. Weeds are not friendly. Weeds are not cooperative. Weeds don't say, oh, well, for the good of humankind, I will just limit how many baby plants I have, and I won't grow any stickers on me this year, and I won't grow any burrs on me this year. I will do it for, the good of the deer who come to eat of my branches and my fruit. I will be super friendly for those deer, and I will not grow little burrs that sticks in their coats and everything. No, weeds are in competition with other weeds, and weeds grow things on them like burrs and like stickers and nasty little fur stuff that sticks to your clothes, because they're all in competition with each other and with us and with our garden plants and everything else. And so I've got weeds growing here specifically that I let grow because my goats will eat them. If my goats won't eat you as a weed, I'm going to try to cut you down. Here's one right here that I don't really know anything about. It's growing some kind of little seed on it. The goats did not eat the leaves of this one, so I'm highly suspicious that this thing's worth anything. And there's other ones that I've been trying to not obliterate per se specifically, but definitely limit how much growth they have. And 2 of them are burr growers. One of them grows a long skinny burr with the little feet on the end of it. They're about that long and they're brown and they stick to your clothes as you brush by. And the other one is the little teeny grayish one. Western Wildflower Walking Channel. The nomadic guy who has 3 pack horses and he just wanders around the west part of the country was talking about those little gray burrs. And he said whenever he has free time, he sits there and he pulls them off of like his socks and his horses and his tack, and he uses his fingernails and he crushes every single one of them because they're a seed to grow more weeds like that. And here it's like my goats, if they pass those things, they will get those all over their coat, but they don't stick on there. Like they get them on there, and I don't know if they chew them off themselves or if they eventually fall off, but they're planting more of those weed plants whenever that seed falls off. And so do the deer. So do the deer. The deer running through here are picking those things up on their coat and then dropping them around. And I noticed the plants of them along our roads. Not so much out in the middle of the forest because there's not as much soil and sunlight under all the trees, but on all the edges, that's where those plants grow. And every one of those plants that I saw this year, I pulled it and I threw it into the middle of the road. Because the middle of the road is full of gravel, no dirt, and I'm going to run over it with my Terex and hopefully just grind it into nothing. So we are fighting weeds all the time. They are unproductive plants that are fighting for survival and not helping us out. Well, then if we take that, let me see your comments. If we take that same principle, and I did a video on this once too. I think it was called like, what are you letting grow? People can be weeds too. We are very much like every other living organism on this planet. We're all fighting for survival, whether you feel like you're fighting for survival or not. You are in competition with everything else on this planet. And so people can be weeds. They can be unfruitful. They can be destructive, invasive. They can have a lot of offspring that they teach their bad habits to. And how do you deal with them? You know what I mean? Like, if you're in California, you're going to be surrounded by people who want you to let the state tell you what to do with your children and about their gender and everything. Those 56 people who voted for that, they're a majority, and you're in the middle of them. You either fight it, you try to pass legislation, or you do a poll, or you get people's signatures, or you get away from them. That's kind of how I equate all this stuff. Current gooseberry ground cherries can grow like weeds. Awesome. That's what you want. I have 3 or 4 gooseberry bushes. One of them came down, I think, in my goat's gut system and planted along the side of the road, and now it's like 3 or 4. So yeah, like if you have weeds, replace them with a plant that can grow well. That's another option. Let's see who else is here. Hi, Smiling Mary. This is not me being cuckoo. This is mosquitoes flying around me and me trying to kill them. Oh, wow, I made it to a live, said Heather. Shalom and love to you all. Thank you, Yahweh. It's Friday, and it's a new moon, and it's the Feast of Trumpets. So it's not just any Friday. It's a triple winter Friday. Now, let me see what else. Who else is here? I see it's good to hear our brothers and sisters in Serbia are fighting back. Okay. The weeds are called tares for a reason, says Tim Pack. That's true. A vegan and a vegetarian decide to jump off a mountain to see who lands first. Who wins? Society wins. Oh my goodness. That would be great for even berry bushes and fruit trees. There you go. That's right. Okay. Don't the birds eat them and excrete certain fruits or plants or other areas? I figure squirrels and birds help spread seeds around. They do, but I don't think that the birds get these particular burrs sticking to them. They get brushed off. Round up, says Lone Star. Thanks for supporting the channel, Heather. In the UK, we actually leave pretty weeds. Weeds are only plants you don't like. The secret to an English garden is pack the space so full of plants. Leave no space. That I believe. Big weekend. Feast ahead. I used to battle wild mustard, wild radish until I learned how tasty they are. Right, some weeds I have brought with me. Some weeds like lamb's quarter I brought with me, and plantain. I brought the actual plants and planted them, and I have planted in this garden area lemon balm because it's a kind of mint plant, and mint plants, like the weed that I fight, are pretty tough, and once you planted them, they will spread. And lemon balm is a good plant. It's an herb. That's what I want. And I've tried planting, I think, rosemary down here, but I think rosemary might be an annual. I have some really good healthy oregano that I'm going to bring down here and plant because it's been growing for like 10 years in my greenhouse. And I've also got some chives. I have some chives I need to bring down here because I want weeds that are good for me, tasty and everything. And like the blackberries are a weed here, and so are the passion fruit. The passion fruit is growing wild. As a matter of fact, I had a passion fruit this morning. It was really good. It had fallen on the ground and it was perfectly ripe, so tasty. I let them grow all they want. I try to help the blackberries within reason. I don't want the blackberry patches to take over everything, but they are in competition with other weeds, and so I try to keep their areas clear of the other weeds so they have a chance to put out their new sprouts and everything. So it's not that I'm against all weeds, but there are some weeds that just are not beneficial, not good for anything, and not even if the goats and the chickens don't want to eat it, like, grow somewhere else. That's kind of how I look at it. Just joining, my new friend told me to grow comfrey because I have so much burdock on my farm. So Nancy Grable, you have brought up a very interesting subject. I also brought burdock down here. It does not grow like it did up in Kansas. It struggles down here. It's probably a little bit too dry, but burdock, you can eat the seeds, you can make flour out of them. And your animals, if you have sheep, goats, horses even, can eat the greens of burdock. So burdock, in my mind, is a better weed to have. I know comfrey is a big thing online. Supposedly good for wounds and many other things, but if you look up comfrey and you do a little bit of research, comfrey also can be carcinogenic. And so I have one comfrey plant. I don't want it to spread. I don't have it like in an area where it can spread. It's in a container. And I'm not even sure I want it to grow. I think what I might do is just dry some of the leaves and then dig the plant up, because you have to do research about some of these herbal things. Oh, this is good for you. That's good for you. You have to look into it a little bit deeper, because not everyone who's saying those things has researched it at all. It's just sort of like a one person says it and another one hears it and they say it, and no one's delving into the facts behind it. And so I personally am not going to recommend to you to replace your burdock with comfrey. Now, if you want to kind of reduce your burdock, I would do some lamb's quarter, because lamb's quarter is pretty strong plant and will take over part of it. And again, it's edible for you and your animals. My goats love it. Or something similar like mint, because mint will grow into a huge patch, and you can make your own peppermint oil or use it for tea. It's good for headaches and all kinds of things. Lemon balm, like I said, oregano, basil would be great, but it's a annual, so it won't keep coming back and coming back like mint will, or lemon balm, or chives. Chives will come back. Chives are, they look like grass, they smell great, they taste great. Oh yeah? You think so, huh? So yeah, I'm not on the comfrey wagon as of right now. I've holding my reserving my judgment on that. I just discovered birds help spread fish eggs too. I assume they can spread seeds as well. Yes, certain seeds. I've heard elderberry seeds, another good weed. Praise Yah for his autumnal feast. Yes, rosemary is a perennial. We have huge bushes here. Okay, so winter night, good to know. I've killed like 3 bushes here. So I need to plant it down here again. And I think the key to my area that I should have already picked up on, but you know, life interferes, is mulching around plants because it does get very dry here. You can see by the soil. So to help them maintain their moisture, I need to mulch around them better. So I will try a rosemary plant. Try mulberry trees. Tom Wary. I love your suggestion. They are already starting to grow here. There are some mulberry trees up the mountain from us, and the rain is washing their seeds down. As a matter of fact, there are 3 of them, 3 that I have found in this area. One of them's already pretty good size, and there's one really close to my chicken coop. There's one on the dam up top. I'm noticing them, and I am going to like there was a little one over there. I covered it with some netting this spring. Unfortunately, I put the goats in here, and so they might have eaten the leaves off, but I think it was established enough that it will come back. And the one that's that way from me is big enough that it definitely survived. And I am making sure that it gets enough sunlight. And yeah, I love mulberry trees. Jensen Family Homestead, hello. Yep, comfort good on skin, bad for you inside, messes up your liver. There are also people who have health issues because of specific herbs. Not all herbs are good and suitable for everyone. Well, thanks for backing me up. My Heritage Red raspberries have taken over. Yum! And in this garden, let's see if I can turn this guy. I don't think it wants to turn. It will turn. Over in that area, there are blackberries, but there are also black wild raspberries, and I have been letting them grow and trying to like kill bugs that attack them and make sure that I support the canes. I'm letting the blackberries and the raspberries compete with each other because no matter which one bears fruit, I like them both. And also out of that area in the garden down there, right in that really wild looking area, is a grapevine that popped out, and so it climbed up over top of the blackberry canes, and I put a support out there. It's still standing there. The grapevine attached to the support and had grapes on it, so the grape wine that some of my brothers and sisters here on the live stream will be enjoying during the Sukkot festival has some of those grapes in it. So yeah, there are definitely things I let grow because they are beneficial. Let's see. Yes, do all the research on herbs. Might be good for some stuff other than that, but not helpful for other stuff. I planted 5 mulberry trees this spring. Awesome. Some sisters and I went down in the bottom part of our property and dug up 10 little baby mulberry trees, and I think about 5 survived the transplant and are in the care of a brother who's really good with trees and plants. And so once they're a bit bigger, 3 of them will come to me and I can plant them where I want. All right, let's see what else is going on. Whoa, sorry for moving this around so much. 4 are doing okay. Excellent. Okay, so talked about California, talked about my shirt, talked about the weeds, talks about the feasts. That was pretty much what was on my agenda for the day. I'm going to have an easy day today. We already have the foods for the feast tonight, so that's something I don't have to worry about. The only other responsibility I've given myself today is making the food for Shabbat. And that's another dish that's pretty easy for me to cook. And after that, I'm going to take the rest of the day easy because of how sore and stiff I was from 2 days ago doing all that manual labor. I want to let my body rest because there's more labor coming up. How many of you have seen a picture on the channel of the shed I'm working on? Vicky said yes. Nope. Not yet, says Mary. It's in the community section. If you go to the, the headings, one will say videos, one says, what else? Man, I can't remember what the other ones say. Like lives, shorts, videos, etc. There's a community one, and that's where I post photos, and comments and like notices for live streams. Sometimes there is an excerpt from a book I'm writing for crew chief members in there. Sometimes little snippets of videos, polls, stuff like that's in the community section. I'm building a shed on another part of the property to be shelter for any of the animals that are running around up there, including the sheep or the goats or the ducks, turkey, the geese, etc. And I wanted to get it done by Sukkot. So I'm going to have about 2 weeks now to continue working on it. Hey, there's Lone Star living. If you've seen the latest photo that I put up, it has tar paper on the roof. It has OSB walls. I did some hardware cloth on 2 sides of it where there were spaces in the pallet so that in the summer air can go through. There are some metal panels that were left over from the longhouse here that I intend to side it with and to buy the corrugated, I think they're tin panels to go on the roof so they're not too heavy. I have 2 weeks to get that done. I really hope I do get it done, but I'm not going to, get angry at myself if I don't. But I think more than anything, I'd like to get those daggone tin panels on the roof. And I have help. There's a young brother here who helps me with the more physical parts, lifting the boards and stuff. But I do some of the work as well, like hammering and driving in the screws and measuring things and cutting things. Just realized my stream must have lagged. I was behind about 30 seconds. Huh! I wonder if that's your service or just the distance or whatever. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Any other comments? I can't scroll right now. There we go. I didn't get notified for community posts, and this is a general thing, not just with your account, SK. I don't know if the community posts, if you're a subscriber, I don't know if you get that. I don't know if you have to actually go to the community section and look, or if you would get a notice for it. Does anybody else have an idea about that? Okay. Well, I'm pushing the wrong button. No wonder it's not doing what I want. No? Yeah, I think my battery's low. I'm not gonna be able to fix that. See if any other comments. I'll check it out because I built a small greenhouse last year, just put my garden stuff in when I'm not using it. Right? I need one of those too. Harbor Prepper says they've seen it. Lamp Kipper says, my friend is a researcher. Burdock grows so much along the fence row and sticks in the mane of the horses, cows, and our dogs. Such a pain. I do boil burdock leaves for tea and have juiced the root. I don't know if your burdock and the burdock I'm thinking of are the same thing. The burdock I'm thinking of does not grow a burr that can stick in a horse's mane. It's little flaky brown stuff. So if it's some kind of burr, like a oval shaped thing with the little arms coming off of it, that's something different. It's a different kind of burdock, and I would absolutely get rid of it, but I still don't think I'd put comfrey there. I would put something else. And I've mentioned a few of the things I would put. You could also just put black plastic down on your border if it's not too big, and lay wood mulch on top of it and keep it, weed free for a couple of years that way. Okay. Cocklebur, that's what those things are. The big green ones that get caught in a horse's mane. I think I used to call them cockleburs. Of mulberry, elderberry, and wild black cat. Mushrooms. Just realized, okay. Lamp Keeper. YouTube doesn't always notify us for the community posts. I sub to Bear Independent, never get notification when it goes live, and the notifications are set to on. So maybe YouTube, not the service provider. Brian, thanks for the heads up about comfrey. I'll research more and all the other suggestions. All right, awesome. Little seeds have very tiny barbs on them, which is why they stick. That's exactly right, those little gray ones. All right, y'all, well, I'm gonna sign off. It's been about an hour. I appreciate everyone coming. If you're not getting the notifications from the community page, then, stop by on YouTube and just look under that heading. I don't post all the time, but I try to post every day or two with pictures and sometimes questions and stuff like that. I get notifications. They don't show up until after the live stream. Marvels of Technology. Shalom. Enjoy your weekend. You too, sister. Don't know if I'll be seeing you or not, but all the best. Love you very much. Get some rest. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. You too. Shalom. Enjoy your Shabbat. You guys too. Bless you. Shalom. Thanks for coming by.